Hey everybody, Tony D with the final hot take. Gab is back online, so let's check out the headlines before we call it an Easter. Let's see. We already know about Facebook. Hope you heard about that yesterday. President Trump and his family receive a standing ovation at Mar-a-Lago on Easter weekend. Well, you'd expect him. I mean, that's where he lives. That's where all his crew hangs, so wouldn't expect anything less. Trump also sent Easter greetings, swiping radical left crazies, wishing them a happy Easter as well. I don't know if I talked about this. I don't think I did, but a pastor threw out a bunch of cops from his church who interrupted his congregation having a service in Canada. It's a really good video. If you haven't seen it, look it up. It happened in Calgary. And the guy really stood up for himself. It was really a sight to see. Good for you, man. Nearly 20 shot Good Friday into Easter morning in Lori Lightfoot's Chicago. Is that actually down? I mean, so many people get shot in Chicago these days. Woman's body found inside charity bin near Queensland Mall in alleged misadventure. Oof. That's quite a misadventure. Breaking, Twitter claims they mistakenly suspended MTG after he is risen tweet, second time in less than 30 days. Oh, that's Marjorie Taylor Greene. And MTG, we're calling her now, I guess. Yeah, I mean, Twitter hates her, and Twitter is Twitter. They're gonna be twits. Marjorie, I believe, is on Gab, if I'm not mistaken, right? I think she is on Gab. I don't know why the Republicans don't just leave Twitter en masse, let the Republicans stew in their own juices. Not the Republicans, Democrats. Just let them stew in their own juices. Let them handle the radical left. Let them handle them, right? So imagine Twitter. Every Republican leaves en masse, moves over to Gab. You can still use Parler. Parler's still active. Just leaves Twitter. Just leaves it behind. Says, F you. Let Jack deal with the fallout, right? Because you know exactly what's going to happen. The next people to go will be the moderate Democrats. At first, they'll be the sane ones, right? They'll be like, okay, everybody, all the Republicans have left, so now we can all be friends, right? Oh, that sounds like something a Republican would say. And then, boom, they're gone. And slowly, everybody will just eat each other's face off, basically, as they savage each other. They can't help themselves, and they refuse to deal with the extremists in their party. And there are extremists in their party. I mean, look, the Republicans had them. They have been pressured over and over again to get rid of them, and they have. Yeah, every once in a while, somebody says something stupid or does something, but that's not the same as having radical extremists who frequently operate in your party and do and say crazy things, and you just giving them a pass over and over again. That's different. The Republicans do not give people passes, generally speaking. So, I say let them stew in their own juices, but they don't listen to me, and the GOP is so slow. So slow to react. Coca-Cola banned from Georgia Republicans' offices after criticism of voting law. Yeah, sure. Why not? Ban the woke companies until they learn. They're going to learn. Because they're going to lose money. That's a place Coke ruled. If you went down to Georgia, every place served Coke. It's a Coke stronghold, I guess you will. People in Pepsi must be doing backflips of joy. And I have a long history of hating Pepsi and loving Coke, but now I'm done with Coke. So if I have to drink a soda, I guess I'm going to have to start to learn Pepsi. Or some generic cola. I really don't like Pepsi. I'm sorry, Pepsi. I'm sorry. You're not woke. I wish you well, but the Coke, I'm done with you, Coke. I'm done. So, get off the woke train now. News publisher Quits Facebook, readership and donations jump. Huh. That's in New Zealand. That's crazy. Good sign, though. Good sign, though. I mean, people are starting to wake up to just how bad social media has become. Again, it's late stage message board. This is what happens to every message board, and that's why people leave. It attracts, after a while, it attracts people who get territorial or crazy, or they're just caught up in being on the message board, whatever the topic is, and they feel some sort of validation by being part of the message board. But it's not real. And then when somebody makes a joke or is sarcastic or even says something rude, they can't handle it. Or they demand their respect. And then, I dated a woman and she was a big fan. What the hell was the band? Like the Allman Brothers? I think that's what they're called. And she would tell me about the board, and then she told me about how some people got jealous of her, and I was just like, I think you've been on the message board a little too long. Nobody cares. Like, you care about the band, obviously, but, the political intrigue between you and other fans isn't really a big deal. So, get over it. Get off the message board. I tried to tell her, but she didn't listen to me. People are talking about Charles Barkley for his recent comment. Good for him. I mean, he's like the one sane guy left on the sports channels now. Basically saying that politicians divide people. And it's true. And you shouldn't really, get so hyped up about them. So, good for you. Good for you, Sir Charles. I look forward to you basically taking over sports. Because when the bill comes due, the woke will be gone. They will be out of business. Everyone who acted like a woke idiot. Your day is coming. Okay? Now is the time to get off the woke train. I can see it. I can see it now. I couldn't see it before. I just knew it was going to happen eventually, but way in the distance, I can see it. People are sick of this. Okay? And one company's going to break. One major corporation's going to break. It'll be the company that tried to go woke, kind of, but it didn't really work, and they're way too late to get on that train. And then they just realize, wait a minute, why don't we just go the other way? And when that happens and that breaks wide open, the other companies are going to start to follow suit. And then it's going to be, at first it'll be a war, and we're getting a little bit of that now. It's going to be a war of the woke and the anti-woke in terms of not like an actual war, but in terms of your image and your impression, and it's just going to take a while for it to sink in for the people who, they're woke, but they're really just in on it because they feel like, oh, it makes me look good. Once it starts to make them look bad, once the kids start jumping off, and a lot of them have, start saying, okay, whatever, Ma, whatever, Grandpa, you want to be woke. Once that starts happening, people will absolutely lose interest because it's not about being concerned about anything woke. It's all about looking cool. It's all about being part of the trend. It's all about being on top of that. And once that trend's dead, it dies. It dies a horrible death. Because the same people who are so weak-willed, who jumped on board the woke train and chastise you for not jumping on, will be the same people who jump off and then chastise you for still being woke. Oh, we're not woke. Oh, you're still doing that BLM stuff? Come on, man. That was so 2020. That's what's going to happen. Oh, my God. Hunter Biden is in the news again. Will this guy not get the hint? Can one of their handlers... Look, I tried to tell you. Just tell Hunter to go on vacation for a year. Just until Joe Biden is done. He's probably gone within this year. Hunter Biden admits he smoked Parmesan cheese after mistaking it for crack. Okay, so what? How's that rehabilitate your image, Hunter? That makes it even more likely you did all this stuff. And this idea that, oh, you don't remember. Okay, so you're so high you can't remember things. Okay, well then there's a pretty good chance the laptop's yours, and the whole thing with the hookers and the weird stuff you did is probably true. So, just for God's sakes, man, if you're out of rehab, great. Good for you. Just go on vacation for a year and stay clean and, keep exercising, whatever you're doing. But just stop giving interviews. U.S. must confront beer virus spike, noted epidemiologist warns. It's from Politico. Okay, whatever, dude. Talk about something you're sick of. I am so sick of the beer virus. I'm just sick up to hear about it. I don't want to hear about it. I'm done with it. I'm just gonna look. I'm not gonna be like crazy guy who walks into a store without a mask and causes a scene. I'm not gonna do that because I don't want to be rude to people. I understand people are afraid, but at the same time, I'm not on board with this anymore. I'm not. Anything I can do to hasten the end of this, including my vote, will happen. Oh, here's the guy who was arrested at Disney. That's a shame. I feel bad for him. Possible military explosive washes ashore on Florida beach. Wow, it looks like a very new mine. Possible military explosive training device. Oh, it was a training device. It's from NBC News. Well, get the story, NBC News. I mean, Jesus. Federal prosecutors in New York are asking a judge to ignore President Trump's pardon of Steve Bannon in We Build the Wall case. Well, you can't do that. I mean, you set that precedent. A lot of stuff's going to unravel. I don't think the people who have been pardoned, especially the high-ups that get pardoned by presidents, want you to do that. So, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Checking Breitbart. Let's see. Biden advisor Celia Rouse on MLB's Georgia boycott. Undoubtedly going to be a cost to stadium workers. Well, yeah. And you can blame Joe Biden is in part to blame for this because of his statements. He should have come out with a statement saying, this is politics. This is what happens. I don't support this, but, Georgia's free to make laws or whatever. Something that's not so partisan and divisive, but he didn't do that. And, he's supposed to be the nice guy. Kamala, confident of getting grip on border crisis. What are you going to do, arrest everybody? You gonna play Tupac and help him smoke pot? I mean, what are your skills in that area, Kamala, other than arresting people? I don't see that. I mean, you're gonna get a grip on the border crisis. Why? Because the media is gonna do a push to say that you did, and you're gonna have stats and statistics. That's probably what's gonna happen, right? In a couple weeks from now, she's gonna do this big, presentation of how she got a grip on the border crisis. Maybe that's why they let it get so out of control, right? Maybe that was the whole point. They let Biden screw it all up, and then she goes in there and cleans it up. Maybe this is all part of the plan. I don't know. Fox News. Wow, that's quite a headline for Fox. Orgy, underage girls, sex games, and extortion inside allegations surrounding Matt Gaetz. I don't look. He doesn't seem that way to me, but I mean, Fox News is usually pretty sensational when it comes to this kind of stuff. So, it's sounding like, I mean, his father wore a wire for the extortion, so it sounds like the extortion's real. His family's rich. Rich families, they get extorted sometimes. So, I say wait. I say wait on this because, the media is desperate for any headlines. So, poll: Latinos not happy with Biden immigration policy from WND. Oh, what happened to Latinx? Of course they're not. Of course they're not, because a lot of Latinos come to this country legally and do what they have to do, and it's a big pain. filling out all these forms. And, then they see, somebody just run across the border and get the same thing. It's not fair. It's not fair to the legal immigrants here. This is why we need some sort of border control. Oh, yeah, the Democrats are going to do it better. Oh, yeah, they're doing such a great job. Kansas GOP ends state's mask mandate hours after Dem governor extended it. Awesome. Bless you, Kansas. Okay, there's another one. So we got the free state of Kansas, free state of South Dakota, free state of Florida, free state of Texas, I believe. So it's happening. So keep on doing it. If you're in a red state, man, push for that. And I assume the really red states are probably mask free already. But, for you blue states that want to go down the tubes, yeah, you keep pushing this stupidity. Energy Secretary Granholm, Biden and Dems will go it alone on infrastructure if necessary. Yeah, the infrastructure plan isn't about infrastructure. Like 95% of it wasn't. So the problem is it's not really about infrastructure. So either their massive plan really only requires a small bit of money to fix the roads and infrastructure, or they're just not fixing it and this is all a sham, or they are fixing it, but there's a big pork barrel thing. I mean, it's a dumb plan. It's a dumb plan to dump all this money. The infrastructure will not get a return, especially since you're only doing this narrow margin. And since you're tearing down highways, racist highways, as part of the deal, that's just going to be a disaster. It's going to be an absolute disaster. And there will be articles on it, and we'll see in the not too distant future. The other stuff's all pork barrel. They're just handing out money left and right. And then they're going to turn around and say, well, it was the Republicans, like they always do. I mean, what has changed here? Other than Democrats are now in charge and spending like it's going out of style. Petition seeks to designate fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction. That's a bit hyperbolic. I don't think that's going to do anything. So let's not do that. Hunter Biden convinced reluctant Joe to publicly support his relationship with Beau's widow, Haley. Who cares? I mean, it's weird. It's stupid, in my view. He's already cheated on her, I think, with a stripper, which he claims not even to remember, even though she fathered a kid by him. I think he remembers something. I think, look, I'm sure you can forget a lot on drugs, but, a whole night of banging some stripper, I kind of think he probably remembers something about it. I'm sure he remembers the calls he got. Burger King customer opens fire through drive-through window over long wait time. Wow. And the subheading on Fox is, some people take the term fast food a little too seriously. Yeah, that's terrible. It's not a joke. And what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, those people, it's not their fault. Anybody want to take a guess on what city this is? And it's probably a city. I'm gonna say Atlanta. Memphis, Tennessee. Damn it. I was close. Oh, here it is. Police. It was a woman allegedly shoots at Burger King workers over wait time. Damn, woman. That's just wrong. Schumer blasts racist voter law, invites MLB All-Star Game to New York. Oh, yeah, I'm sure that'll be a lot cheaper. Yeah, I'm sure all the taxes you'll pay in the hotel, I'm sure it'll be a lot cheaper. Yeah, go to New York. And, make sure you get there 2 weeks ahead of time, because, that's part of the rules. You're going to have to quarantine for 2 weeks ahead of time. Can't go outside, can't practice, so really you're going to need like 3-4 weeks, and then you're going to have to be, pay all the exorbitant fees, and you have to worry about all the crime, of course. Yeah, go to New York and build de Blasio's New York. And I'm sure Antifa and the various woke idiots running around aren't going to protest your game that they never attend. Oh, I'm sure they'll attend, right? It's the kind of thing college students do. They go to Major League Baseball games and All-Star games because, they have so much money. This is a great idea. So please, MLB, do this. Singing hymns through mask. Christians mark coronavirus Easter. That's sad. Looking at the Daily Mail, Alyssa Milano and Holly Marie Combs hit back at charmed producer who left series. Wow, this is like an old fight. Like, what are you doing? Vaccine squad goes door to door to offer beer virus jabs to ethnic minority families amid low uptake. Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, that seems like you should have a better record of people getting the virus jab, and it seems like things could get mixed up if you go door to door. I mean, there are people who they're freaked out by this, and they might get an extra jab, and I don't think you want that. They may mistake. I know some of these jabs are 2 jabs, right? So what if you got a guy who says, I'm going to fool these guys, I'm going to get my 2 jabs like right now. You're supposed to wait, I believe, and I don't know if those 2 jabs are exactly the same. They're probably not. So I think this is a bad idea. People should have to go to a doctor or the hospital. Going door to door, it seems a little much. I mean, look, again, I'm not an anti-vaxxer, but you're treating this virus like it's the plague, and people are dying in the streets. They're not dying in the streets. Now, if you want to target people with comorbidities, they can't get around, they're very old, okay, yeah, maybe. Certain people, but not everybody. I mean, ethnic minority families, I think they know where the doctor is. I mean, that's part of being a family. You got to have a doctor in your area. So, if anything, you should be supplying the doctor in their area or whatever. I'm sure it seems like a dumb plan. Boris Johnson plans 2 beer virus tests each week for everyone. That sounds completely unrealistic. Not to mention that the tests aren't that accurate. I mean, in general, they're accurate, I guess. I mean, they just dropped the PCR or PRC, I still didn't figure out which it was, from the test. And wasn't it the UK that got the Chinese test early on? They were bad? 2 tests a day? 2 tests a week. It seems excessive. It seems really excessive for a virus that is only going to kill certain people. Again, certain people, maybe they should have a test. Maybe they should have a test daily if they're that vulnerable to it, but, everybody else, I mean, this seems like too much. It seems like way too much. I'm against this. You're going to be, and when you're testing this much, when you're doing something this much, you're going to have people fall through the cracks. You're going to have people who just go, I don't, can I skip the test? I passed the first one, and somebody's going to go, yeah, it's fine. That's what's going to happen. Or somebody's going to go, here's $20. Ignore the test. Or, can I buy a thing? I mean, that's what they're pushing, I think. I think this is part of the push to get the vaccine passport. Because then it's going to be like, all right, fine, we'll get the vaccine passport if I can stop doing this. But even then, I don't think this will stop. The pharmaceutical companies are making too much money. Let's see. Sticks and Hammer talked about this. Iowa governor signs bill into law letting residents to buy and carry guns without permits. So, a free state of Iowa. I don't know if they don't have to wear a mask now, but you can come strapped, so kind of doesn't matter. Good for you guys. Good for you. Maybe the country's getting freer. I don't know. Sometimes you see a story like this and you're like, oh, thank God. But we'll see. And finally, tweeting is easy. Governing is hard. AOC deemed least effective lawmakers according to study. Yeah, I mean, she's pretty ineffective as a lawmaker, as a demagogue or a personality. She's much more effective. I mean, her profile is very high, at least on the internet amongst her fans. But ultimately, I think her fans will eventually abandon her because they'll just get sick of her. She is an establishment crony in that she has compromised herself to get to where she is and claim that she wasn't. And you can just look at all her hypocrisy. I mean, the one about immigration is just ridiculous, right? I mean, she was calling them concentration camps and going down to the border to cry, and now she's like, well, now it's totally different. Now they're influx, what'd you call them? Like influx facilities? Like, oh, now they're influx facilities? Now there's like 3 times as many thanks to Biden's idiotic invitation, and, they're at 1,700% capacity. Oh, but now they're safer than ever. Yeah, I mean, she is the woke candidate, because the only way you can look at someone like AOC and say, oh, yeah, she's pretty good, is you have to be totally, thinking with your feelings, because that's the only thing that I think drives her fans. Like, you have to feel that she's doing a good job because she's earnest and she talks, and she's so emotional when she talks. But beyond that, if you actually listen to the words she says, it's about as empty as Joe Biden stuff. Joe Biden's a little more clever with his wording sometimes, even though he F's it up all the time. His is just straight up lying half the time. But he just, since nobody can correct him, then no one cares, and it's up to you to debunk it yourself, I guess. But with AOC, she has a lot of enemies, even within her own party, because these people are power hungry, so they step on each other to gain power. It'll be interesting to see what happens when Nancy Pelosi finally retires. I think she's done at the end of this cycle, or this term for her. Thank God. I mean, the woman's only 80. I mean, retire already. There's got to be a limit, an age limit for some of these people. I mean, 80, I think, is just too old. I think 75, and then your next term, you're done. Right? It's like, you're 75, and so at the end of this term, you're over. It seems like a perfectly fine age. I mean, or at the very least, you got to go through a cognitive test, and you got to pass it with flying colors, or you're out. Maybe put up that barrier, and then, yeah, you could keep going if you're really sharp and in shape or whatever. But yeah, I think 75 should be the cutoff. But they're never going to do that for Congress. And there should be term limits, especially on someone like Nancy Pelosi, especially in these districts where it's always the same party over and over again. At the very least, get some new people in there. At least new people will do, hopefully, something new. All right, that's it for me tonight. Little Jones asleep. Happy Easter, everyone. As always, check out my books. Links in the description. Book 6 of the Pineys is out. The Highwayman Piney. All about bloody John Bacon, the famous loyalist and pirate who ran amok during the Revolutionary War. And check us out on BitChute and Rumble, because God knows how much longer they're going to let me be on YouTube.